When did you when did it go from working as a contractor to doing your, like, when did the switch happen? You know what I mean? Because there's a shit ton of people out there laying flooring, doing all of that, but there's still a lot of people who say, well, I want to do more. I want to get off my knees, or I want to get out from underneath the house. When did you have a switch all of a sudden?
It was probably like college, because college, I bought my first house in college, because I went to college in Kansas. So coming from California.
Well, back
up.
Where in Kansas?
School?
No, not Jayhawks.
Oh,
not
okay.
Jayhawks. Yeah, no. It was a
Kansas State.
It was a private school, private university, Ottawa University. It was right down the street from the Jayhawks. But no,
right on.
Sorry,
we just want to make sure.
Sorry to disappoint.
Kansas State.
Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah. Because if it was Kansas State, it'd be like, and we're done.
Thank you for your time. Please enjoy this next time. Private school, nowhere involved with that. But I mean, you're buying houses. I mean, the first house I bought was $30,000, like $31,000. And I mean, like, the down payment was like $6,000. I'm like, well, I don't know if I can say this, but I took my FAFSA return check and basically put it into the property. And so I was living with a rent of like $280 a month, and I was paying like $900 a month for an apartment. So I was like, I can live in a crappy house for this. Fixed it up, and then we sold it when we moved for like $185,000. And that's the first time it like clicked, because I'd worked construction after high school before I went back to college. Hated it. But when I did that side of it, where I was like, oh, so like I can make the money on the back end and like potentially doing the work. I was like, well, let me start a construction company, do stuff for other people while I do stuff for myself. And that's kind of really when it clicked, like a business idea, where I'm like, well, I'm going to go try to turn this into something, substantial, rather than just me trying to afford my rent.
Right. Yeah, because not everybody, somebody has to crawl under the house, right? Yeah. This is kind of like, this is kind of like the argument for everyone going to college. Well, somebody has to pick up the trash. Somebody has to change the hotel sheet. Somebody has to do this, right? But there are a group of people out there that say, I feel like I'm smart enough, or I'm willing to take the risk, and I just don't know what risk to take or how to take that risk. I don't know how to get started. And it's something Shane and I have covered quite a bit on this podcast, just talking about that, because Shane and I have done just a ton of different things, whether it's in this industry or whether it's restaurants or whether it was recording studios or consulting or whatever it was. But I think it's always, anytime we have guests on, especially with someone like you who is, I mean, how old are you?
28.
I mean, Jesus, really? Shane. Yeah. Jeez, I'm just feeling old. Yeah. I feel like I tried to take a basketball goal down the other day, like with the sledgehammer, and I think I tore my tricep. It's just like, it's like, you remember 28, Shane? But no, dude. So I think it's always so important when we have someone like you on the podcast, just to kind of, even if it's that 5-minute snippet of, this is when it clicked, this is how I did it, right? Whether it was successful or not. I think it's just so critical for any listener to hear, because there's not really a way to do it. But more that you get to hear those stories, it's just like, all right, well, that one sounds similar to mine. So, I mean, so since you started doing that, right, was it pretty much at that point you were like, all right, I'm going to do another one? I mean, I'm so interested in that turn from where you are now to kind of how that went. I mean,
the hard thing was, so I went to school for football, right? And that's where a lot of things, and I've talked to a lot of kids about this, is when you're a football player and you're on scholarship, you get stuck in this mindset of like, well, I'm going to go pro, or I'm going to be a personal trainer, or I'm going to be a coach, or you have all these different jobs that kind of, bunny trail off of this, play sports. So for me, like, when I waited around for 6 months to, finally have my agent call me with, a team, I was sitting there like having already flipped, the house in Kansas. I was sitting there back in California waiting. And I was like, why am I waiting when I know I can do this? And then I started playing out like, if I get a sprained ankle and I get dropped from minicamp, all these different things, to where I was like, you know what, I'm tired of putting my fate in everyone else's hands. The worst case scenario is I jump on another one and I completely fail, and I'm sitting around waiting for 6 months anyway. So a lot of people, before they jump into it, they want to do all this extensive research. And during those 6 months, all I was doing was research. I was reading audiobook or listening to audiobooks. I was watching YouTube videos. I was reading books. I was watching pretty much anything I could get my hands on how to do real estate, legitimately, getting my CPAs in line, getting all the structure like planned out. And finally, I'm like, why not just do this instead? Like, I mean, you look at all these people who have built, generational wealth, real estate's plugged in somewhere.
Right.
So I'm like, screw this. If I play football for a year, I'm probably going to put my money into real estate even at the end of it anyway.
Right.
So I just dove into it and basically said, look, whatever I'm doing now, sitting here completely broke isn't working. So at least I could fail at something, learn, and still be sitting here broke with experience rather than just sitting here broke for no reason. So
right.
I think the biggest thing is just realizing like what is really there. I had it easy because I didn't have that, 9-to-5 job that was paying all my bills already. I didn't have that family that was fully dependent on my income solely. So I kind of did have it easy in the sense of I could afford to fail pretty hard and it wouldn't really affect me.